Hello and welcome to another episode of the Modern Skein podcast. My name is Sharon Graff and I am the owner of the Modern Skein, which is a yarn shop here in Montgomery, Texas, but we serve all of you guys all around the world, not just in the United States, but we routinely ship to Canada and Europe, and we even sent a package the other day to Taiwan and all the things. So no matter where you are welcome to consider us as your LYS, and we are honored if you do consider us your LYS, whether you are close by and pop into the shop regularly, or maybe you're just a longtime viewer of the podcast or watch us on Instagram. Thank you for participating with this yarn shop and with the podcast and everything else. So thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. And, you know, we're getting into the end of the year, which is when I'm, I guess, more reflective of all the things we're grateful for and everything that we have achieved in the past year and what we're going to achieve in the coming year. And it's just been amazing, and we couldn't do it without you guys' support. So thank you so much. And even though that's a slightly non-traditional intro to the podcast, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, like I just mentioned, welcome back. Be sure and grab your favorite beverage. I have my cup of coffee in my Les Garcons mug. I feel okay. Now I'm gonna wait, let me finish my stream of consciousness here. If you're a new viewer, welcome, and I do hope you stick around even through my occasional ramblings and weirdness. So I feel like the camera all of a sudden got crooked, so let me see if I can fix this without being crazy. I don't think this is gonna work. Okay, let me do it this way. Okay. It could also be that the floor or the walls in this building are not straight, because we've discovered that. But okay, I think that's as best as we're going to get today. So hello, welcome to the podcast. Grab your beverage. I have a lovely cup of coffee in my fabulous Les Garcons coffee mug. I just said that. And let's get started, you guys. So, it's the same but different. I rearranged the shop after we got back from our trip to Jackson Hole, because I've studied a whole lot of store layout type things for small businesses, boutiques, things like that, and found out there was a way we could optimize our square footage and really be able to fit be able to fit more yarn into the shop and other things as well. But you know, bread and butter's yarn. So we implemented is the word I'm looking for. Implemented those things when I got back after being practically jet lagged. Not really, but I'll share that in a second. And it's so good, you guys. So it's the same location that I've been filming at, but I'm filming from a higher surface. So fun fact, I'm actually facing the checkout counter now and a big window. And so we used to have Sit and Stitch here, used to have the little blue couch. Sit and Stitch is now in our cozy craft room kind of area. This shop, if you're not familiar, is basically like 4 rooms. They used to be individual little like suites, if you will. And we have basically 4 that are connected, so it's like 4 different rooms. So all of the Sit and Stitch and the coffee and the table and the classy area and all that kind of stuff is all in one area now, which is super fun. And I am now filming basically on the checkout counter. So it's a little bit different perspective, but I think it looks pretty good. So, of course, we still have our feature wall of Spincycle and some Fluff, and I've got to make room because a giant package is coming, not of Spincycle, not of Fluff, but something else that really does belong on, I can't call it the mohair wall anymore, because we used to call it the Fluff wall or the mohair wall, because it was just fluffy yarns, mohairs, alpacas, things like Fluff, melted baby Suri, things like that. But now we have Spincycle there. I don't know what to call it besides the Spincycle wall, the Spincycle fluffy wall. I have to come up with something better. But always looking for more space because I'm surrounded by just what we got in this past week, and I guess the beginning of this week, and I didn't even bring all of it. I literally would not have enough time to share everything with you guys. So be sure and sign up for our newsletter, because I usually am able to get all of the information out in a seemingly timely manner. As far as what's new into the shop, best case scenarios, come on in or follow us on Instagram or Instagram stories, because I'm usually showing unboxings and things like that in there. So, hold on. Alexa, stop. She was playing music, and I just had that realization that YouTube could shut down the podcast if they think we're playing a music that we don't have a license to. So, now we're actually 6 minutes in going to get to the podcast. So, normally we start off with finished objects, and I was panicking last night on our community sit and stitch Zoom that we have. So if you're not familiar with our Zoom, be sure and follow us on Instagram. We do a Zoom sit and stitch every 2 weeks, and it's super fun because it's a mix of a few locals that maybe just with work schedules can't ever make it to our physical sit and stitch, and then a lot of you guys from different parts of the state or out of state, and it's a really fun way to build that community with our Zoom night. And it's always Tuesday, and it's every other Tuesday. So the next one will actually be December 26th, the day after Christmas. So if you are free, 7 p.m. Central Time, and send us a message on Instagram. I can't really do it here on YouTube, and I can send you the link and the passcode for that. You can also check out the link on our website as well. It's under upcoming events. So I was panicking on the Zoom last night, thinking that I did not have a finished object to share. And then I realized I actually did this morning when I was gathering up all my whips to bring in to show you guys on the podcast. Because when we were on our trip to Jackson Hole for Josh's 40th birthday, I cast on the plane a hipster hat and finished it like the last 10 minutes before landing in Jackson Hole. So we had 2 flights, so it was about 3.5-ish hours of flying time. So I'll just say a 4-hour hat because I knit some on the layover in Denver. But you guys, the hipster hat is my new favorite hat. And you know, I don't normally wear hats, but this one actually looks good on my head. I like it. So, it's the hipster hat by Petite knit. I knit it to pattern. So it's just a fold over wide brim. You could, I suppose, do like a double if you wanted. Or, you know, some people are like wearing their beanies like this. And I'm just like, what's the point? Because then your ears aren't covered. And it looks weird like this, my opinion. I look like a flight attendant. Hello. You know, like on one of the... Yeah. Okay, so let me put this on normally. So, Hipster Hat by Petite knit. This is a DK weight yarn. It is from my stash, so it's not a yarn that I have in the shop. However, I was thinking about this and I forgot to bring it. So, hold that thought. Okay, so the yarn is I know it's a non-superwash. So the British DK would be a really good substitute if you love this color. And it's like the darker version of Alex's Squirrel Friend from Les Garcons, or if you like a redder version, Lyra's Hat. These would be great options. Give you the same kind of stitch definition that this hat has, which is really nice. But I feel good about it because I used up some stash and I wore the heck out of it when we were in Jackson. Very nice, kept all of my head warm. In fact, sometimes I got hot and I had to take it off. So the Hipster Hat by Petite Knit. I really enjoy this pattern. This is a hat I would knit again because it's a quick gift knit because it is just ribbing, but I really love the decrease sequencing that you have at the top. There you go. And it really truly makes this a unisex kind of male female hat. So it's not overly girly. It's just a basic hat. So if you are still needing a quick gift knit, like I said, it's about 4 hours of total knitting time. I would say maybe, if you're not as fast as me, maybe 6. But I would think you'd be able to get this done, say, in 3 nights. You know, if you're, I'll say, more of a slower knitter, or faster. DK weight hats go super fast, and I love the thickness. It's a good thickness, but it's not too hot necessarily. I used a size 4. I believe the pattern calls for a 5, I think. But I know me, and I like a hat at a DK weight done at a size 4. It's dense enough that I'm not going to get wind going through the hat, but it's not so dense that it's, going to necessarily stand up all the way on its own. See, it has a little softness. But Hipster Hat, and of course you could, don't mind me because I finished it on a plane, there still ends. If you like to wear your hats schlumpy like that actually looks cute, kind of. I would need to steam it if I was going to do this. But you could do the hipstery way of wearing it. But I like it the other way. Plus, then it hides that end and I don't have to see it. So, Hipster Hat is my only finished object. So, that being said, let me move this. I was compelled to go through my whips last night on the Zoom, before the Zoom, kind of all the things. And I have more whips than I should probably have, but it's fine. I kind of came up with a new goal for myself. One is finish my test knit. Luckily, there's been a slight extension on the time frame, and I can actually finish it. So goal number 1 is to finish my test knit, which I'll show you here in a second. Goal number 2 is to finish up some of the older whips that I have lying around that are pretty close to being done. They probably need, for me, because I don't have a lot of knitting time during the day typically, I would say maybe 2 nights worth of work for me to finish up. So I need to just buckle down and do it. So let's start. First, I will show, then I also, no, I didn't. I have so many things I want to cast on, and I've cast on a few things and I really want to knit on them. So I have huge aspirations and goals of Christmas break knitting, when in all reality, I have a grand total of about 3 actual days off, and that's it for the Christmas break, because I have some more days off, but they're filled with family things, and things that I won't necessarily take knitting to. most family things I'll take knitting to, but we're eating at a nice restaurant. I'm not going to haul my knitting in. That's just, I draw the line at a nice restaurant. Like, it's one thing if you take it into Chick-fil-A, like, that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to take it into Chick-fil-A either because food, but whatever. That's just beside the point. If I'm dressing up, I'm not taking my knitting necessarily. I say that, but I have shamelessly hauled my knitting around a cruise ship, dressed up on formal night, and knit, especially in the theater. But, again, not a restaurant. Okay, I'm going to stop blathering on and show you my test knit because it is almost done. I don't have enough room up here to show you all the things. Okay, so I powered through the other night and got one sleeve seamed and attached. So this sleeve is now seamed up, and actually the ends are all woven in. I just haven't trimmed them. So this is I really love how the sleeve has that like checkerboard effect. This is the Officer test knit for Max the Knitter. In fact, let me just pop it on. So this is a sweater made entirely out of fluff. You can see I have one sleeve not done. Okay, so this is, I wouldn't wear this black t-shirt underneath it, but this is the sweater. I love kind of the continuation, and then it'll match because I will start with red on this side, so the gray will flow down this arm. How cool is that? So again, Officer is the name of the sweater by Max the Knitter. It's going to come out next week. So this should go up, say, at the absolute latest on Sunday, say Saturday, Sunday. So the week, also that coming week is when it should come out. I don't think we have an official date yet, but like the week of the 18th, 19th is something. So he might be having it come out on his birthday. But this has been, it's been a really fun knit because it's intarsia. You can see it mimics that on the back. And if you've not done intarsia before, I would say this is a pretty decent, because you're working flat, this would be a pretty decent first intarsia project, especially if you're familiar with, say, color work, because there's no color work in it, but if you are familiar with sweater construction at all, like you've done a sweater before, you've done maybe yarn management with mosaic knitting or something like that, then by all means dive into the Officer. It's knit in fluff, but you don't have to. You could easily substitute, I would say at the gauge, maybe a heavy sport to maybe a light DK yarn. Obviously it's going to wear slightly different than if you used fluff. But maybe you have another blown yarn that you like. You know, actually, dapple might be a good substitution with the cotton wool blend. Give you a unique, still give you that kind of lightness that you want in this garment, but without fluff or alpaca or mohair or anything like that if you're allergic or just don't care for it. So again, all I have to do is that second sleeve. And I mean, honestly, this sleeve did not take very long. I just didn't have a lot of time to knit on it because I chose to do a test knit at the busiest time of year and over Black Friday. And yeah, so that next episode will be finished. Better be finished. So again, the yarn I've used is Fluff by Walcot and Garcons. It's a collaboration yarn, and the colors I'm using are Cinema and Cold Rain. So Cold Rain is the, I'll say, the blue leaning gray. Feather is the warm toned gray. Feather is what I used in my Moon Bumps wrap. and Cold Rain is what I'm using in that. So that's that whip. Now, another old whip that I found last night that I am bound and determined will also be finished next week is my Bumpy Cowl. I'd almost honestly forgotten about it completely. But the Bumpy Cowl is coming along. That gets folded down and sewn at the end. So I'm on the 4th section now of really 5 sections. There's going to be 6 I-cord stripes. We were talking last night on the Zoom about me shortening it, but once I factored in that, you know, this is fold over and everything else, it just seemed a wee bit too short, and I like a cozy cowl. So I'm going to at least do 5 I-cord stripes before pondering if I'm going to shorten it at all. So, and I just ripped out a whole bunch of stitches. I am using Twylas Sand for my main color in the British DK, also from Les Garcons. And then my stripes are leftover Spincycle dyed in the wool in every rose, leftover from my moon bumps. But all you really need is a single skein of I just realized I did that whole section wrong. Bum ba da bum. I don't think I'm going to rip it out. Y'all don't know what I did wrong. Okay, so anyway, dyed in the wool, 1 skein, 2 skeins of DK weight yarn will get you a Bumpy Cowl. And then I will have done the moon bumps shawl, scarf, whatever you want to call it, the Bumpy Cowl, and the Bumpy cardigan. Probably not going to do the Bumpy pullover just because I have been bumpied out. There's nothing wrong with the I-cords. I do love a good I-cord, and it's not hard for me to do. It's just, how many bumpy things do I need, really? You know, let's be honest. Don't tell Max. So then I took on our trip as well. So I took the officer test knit, and I did get a decent chunk of, well, I finished the body there and started the sleeve, which was great. But then I took also my tessellated socks, which I haven't made very much progress on because honestly the yarn management has been, fiddly. Part of it is because I have it jammed in way too small of a bag and been hauling it around. But this is one of those weird things where I actually want the sock, and I'm not a sock wearer, but like in Jackson Hole I wore socks because it's snowing and it's like 17 degrees and I'm not totally stupid. But I also, these are so like soft with the fuzzy element that we have like tile floors in our house, and 9 times out of 10 that doesn't bother me. But in the winter time, every now and then, it'd be nice to have like a slipper sock. And I know because of this, they're gonna be slick as snot on the floor. I'll be fine. So this is my Tessellated sock by Andrea Mowry. Obviously did not finish in time for, I have mohair fluff. Did not finish in time for the knit along, but I am going to be working on these socks. The pattern is actually fun to knit. I enjoy that tessellated design. I did the tessellated vest, as you guys know. It's a very fun, memorizable, meditative type knit, which I'm all about right now. Like I said, it's just really, it's yarn management for me. I also realize I'm trying to do a magic loop with way too short of a needle. I'm doing this with like a 24-inch needle, and everyone that does magic loop socks is probably rolling their eyes at me and saying, why are you torturing yourself like that? Because I didn't want to bother going to find my longer size 0 needles. And yes, I have to knit socks on 0s. It's fine. So my yarns real quick, I have Red Stag Fiber Dachas sock in the Welsh Slate. So the black color is my main color. We still actually have some of this left. I'm surprised. And then my fluff is Red Stag Fiber Suri. Is this Stonegate? I think it's Stonegate. Yes, Stonegate. So another gray. And then, shocker, this is dyed in the wool Reykjavik. So the all gray. I'm just going to have some yummy, soft, gray-black socks. And I'm super pumped. So, they will be done. They will not be done this year. I'm just going to say that. See my bag. I need to switch this to a different bag because that's just too small. So, I think if I switch it out to a different project bag and proper sized length needles for Magic Loop, because I actually like doing socks on Magic Loop. I don't care for 2 at a time. It's too fiddly and I always grab the wrong needle even if I have it color coded. And I don't like DPNs. I mean, I can do DPNs. And lately, I haven't liked small circumference, like 9-inch circulars. I used to do 9-inch circulars, especially like for cuffs and for the bottoms of sleeves all the time. And a couple of my socks that I've knitted, because I have knit socks, shockingly enough, I've probably knit about 6 pairs of socks total in my lifetime of knitting. It's always been on 9-inch circulars, but I tried it on those and it just didn't feel good. So I switched to Magic Loop and I've been enjoying it. So anyway, that is my tessellated sock. So now 2 new casts. Well, no. I'm going to try to show these all in order. This is going to be a slightly longer episode, y'all, because we have a lot to cover. Oh, I forgot about that whip. Well, I'll show it to you. So I have another lay bandana that I cast on ages ago, and I literally pretty much only picked this up either, well, I knit like this much of it when we went to the movie theater the other day, because this is something I could just knit in the dark, and it's small still. This might get ripped out, you guys, because I'm holding the Fua double. So I'm using Andorra leftovers and Fua leftovers from Moondrake. And I feel like holding the Fua double is just too thick. And it's kind of, yeah, I don't like it. So this might actually get ripped out and potentially either restarted or switched to something else. Don't know yet, but you know, sometimes you just need to clear off some needles and be okay with it. This, I really want to get, just fell. I really want to finish. So this is finish the officer, finish the Bumpy cowl. And then I think what I'm going to do on this project is set like not a timer necessarily, but a goal of working on it maybe like, not even every day, because I'm not going to be able to do it every single day, but say like 3 days a week, I knit for 20 minutes on this, just to get progress done on it and to get it finished, because like I said, I want it. So this is the Chevronopolis by Max the Knitter. I've made good progress. And it's beautiful, but it's just the slip stitches, so it takes a long time. So, this is dropping stitches. I need to put this on a longer cord. Like I said, Chevronopolis by Max the Knitter. It's a beautiful slip stitch shawl. So, if you're intimidated by color work, this is a great option because it looks like color work, but it's not. And the back side looks super nice and neat. And I'm using the, people are trying to come in. I'm using the Raven by Andorra, which is a sport weight yarn by Kelbourne as my main color. And then I have Stay Ready at the beginning of this here. And then moving on, I have started using this one, which I can never remember if this is LightYears or Grumpy Birds. I think this is Grumpy Birds. Yeah, so this is Grumpy Birds. So we have a lot of the grays and a little bit of brown earlier, and then we're going to fade into kind of the soft green gray. And then I'm going to end it with LightYears because it's a 3-color Spincycle. So this is a skein of LightYears. So a little bit of gray, a little bit of green, and chartreuse. And I think it's going to work out really, really pretty. So it's like neutral with little bits of green and chartreuse all throughout with a black background. So yeah, I think the best thing, because I think I'm through, let me see. So this, I think it's the start of the repeat. 1, 1, 3, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, I think I'm, wait, where's my, yeah, so, oh, that's, okay, so I'm just starting 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just starting my 5th repeat, and I believe it's 7 repeats for the shawl. So it has taken me about, again, I don't travel with this one. It's written and charted, and it's easier for me to follow the written instructions because I don't really need the written instruction except for at the very, very end when I'm doing an increase. Otherwise, I basically just read my knitting and follow the pattern. So it's easier for me to do that versus the chart for whatever reason. Normally I'm a chart knitter. On this one, it just makes more sense for me to do that. So I don't like hauling the pattern around. It's big, it's bulky because I'm using the written portion. And there's a lot of yarn kind of to keep with it. So it's been staying in my craft room. But because it's been staying in my craft room, I haven't been in my craft room hardly at all the past couple months because of life, and it hasn't been being knit on. So that being said, finally those people moved on. Hope you're not a watcher. Sorry, but we're not open. So yeah, so then what did I do? I cast on another project. I forgot. Oh, I think it was the night that I finished my sleeve on and sewed in my sleeve. I was like, I can't think about starting the second sleeve right now. So instead, I cast on the start of a cowl. So this is the Cheryl Faust Destination Unknown cowl, and it's a slip stitch mosaic cowl using Dream State from Spincycle and DK weight yarn, and I had an almost full skein, like 92 gram skein of Cheryl's Coal Gray on British DK left over from my Montrealer, and so I also had a skein of the Family Jewels on Dream State, a single lonesome Family Jewels, so I put them together to do this cowl. So that will be probably the third finished object that I have, because it's a cowl. It's not super big. It's pretty memorizable as far as the patterning goes, and I love seeing the color fade through here. So that's my Dream State project right now. And then I did cast this on the other day too. I had talked about casting this on the podcast earlier, and I just hadn't gotten around to it, and I was like, I'm going to take a few minutes and do some selfish knitting. And I cast on my Nordiska that I talked about in the in the BFL sock from Les Garcons. This is Emma Stone colorway, and I just love the cable detail on the raglan here. So this is going to be kind of just not necessarily a shop sample. I want this sweater. I've knit it before, and the yarn, I used a yarn that was really too heavy, but it was souvenir yarn, and it works beautifully, but it's just a little too cropped, and I don't like how the sleeves are, so I don't wear it as often. But this, I'm going to make a few modifications, make the body just a wee bit longer, and then also make the sleeves straight versus decreasing, and lengthen them a bit as well. So I'm excited about that. Okay, moving on. Those are all my whips. Now I have one more project that I have ready to cast on, but I haven't cast on. I'll show you this. And this is probably going to be my Christmas Day cast on. It is the Shocking Stripes sweater by Tori Yu. I don't have a picture of it because I don't have my printed pattern. But I'm going to use Red Stag Fiber Highland Sport in Birch as my main color. I have this all wound up because I was thinking I was going to cast it on in Jackson Hole, and I didn't. But this is Spincycle in the Nokoya colorway, so it's like all the gradient blues. And so Shocking Stripes is like a base color, and then she did these neon little stripes in, it's not just a stripe, it's like a slip stitch pattern going down, and so it'll be really cool to see the very subtle fade that Nokoya will do down the sweater. That, and I really like sport weight sweaters to wear, so that is on my queue to cast on. I still have fuzz. So now more things in my queue. I was going through and dash diving into some of my own personal Spincycle stash, and I've purchased some of the second sale over the years, and these just kind of fell into my lap, and I think, how fun is this to do a shift cowl? And we actually have these two skeins here in the shop. I don't have Nostalgia, but Absolute Zero is very similar, and you could replicate this. So it's Love Spell, Midsummer, and then just get Absolute Zero, and you could do this. And like someone was saying on our Zoom last night, this would be a fun Valentine's Day shift. So my goal is to finish this for Valentine's Day. So not a lot of pressure, just a little bit. And then I also have some skeins of Plump that I haven't decided, because I only have single skeins. I don't have two. So I either need to, when they come back in stock, get a this is Stay Ready. I just wound it by hand so it doesn't look as pretty. I need to wind it on my winder. And then this is Straw Flower. I am in love with Straw Flower, you guys. So good. Either get a second skein of one of these, or get another one and do the Plump It Up shawl, because that's also in my queue. But I also think a hat would be fun out of Plump. Decisions. Oh, and then I also want to knit the fog line. And I have some Dream State in Stay Ready, shocker, and Lapis. We're all surprised. That I could use for a fog line. So stay tuned to see what all I cast on. But now I'm going to enable you guys with new yarn that has come into the shop. So let's get started with Spincycle, because Spincycle arrived on Saturday. A brand new shipment full of Dream State, which was super fun, and then a few restocks in Dyed in the Wool. As always, we never really know what we're getting in the box necessarily until it is shipped, so it's always a surprise and exciting to see what we get. And you guys, really, Saturday we already sold out of several colors, but we have a few things. Oh, we did get one lone, not skein, but one lone colorway of Plump. So we have Neverwary in stock, which is real pretty if you're into like the icy blue purples or gray purples. It's gorgeous. So you can snag some skeins of Plump in Neverwary on the website now, if it's not already sold out by the time this podcast airs. But let me show you the Dream State. So now you could get now we have a nice selection to pick from for a night shift shawl, which is the worsted weight version of the shift cowl. Several Cheryl Faust patterns, of course, use Dream State and a DK or a worsted weight for sweaters or shawls. Native Knitter, the Eye Dazzler sweater. So there's lots of patterns, of course hats too, to use Dream State in. And let's get started. So we got in, or fog line, because I've been talking about that and I talked about it on a live. So we got in lapis. You can see the skeins we got in are a bit darker than what I had in my stash. Beautiful. It also has some of that real pretty like burgundy color in there. So lapis on Dream State. Good Omen. This is a beautiful skein of Ghost Ranch. This, I'll say we got in Ghost Ranch on Dyed in the Wool, sold out, and it was very navy blue heavy, which was stunning. Our Dream State skeins are very kind of that peach color and green heavy, which is gorgeous. So I'm very tempted to take one of these for my fog line. More Dream State right here. So we also have Devilish Grin on Dream State, which is beautiful. It's a very fiery orangey red batch this time, which is fun. I love this color. This is Ranunculus. It's very soft and pale and muted, which is sometimes unusual for Spincycle, but it's very pretty, very sweet. Then we got Close Call, which is always fun. Greens, teals, oranges, browns, pops of mustard. Then Love Spell. So soft, so pastel-y, but almost a neon touch, but it's not neon. It's just that mintiness. Then Deep Bump. Deep Bump I used in my night shift. I know I used Deep Bump, I used Leith, I used, I think, Ghost Ranch, actually. Maybe. It's been so long. I knit that back in 2019. But I know Deep Bump was one of the colors as well. And last but not least, Big Sky, which, y'all, it's like neutral gray with neon. Super fun. Reminds me kind of the same colors that you get in anime from Hedgehog Fibers, but of course in the Spincycle fashion. So those are the colors that we have on Dream State. We also have some Afternoon Delight still. I think we have Absolute Zero. I have I think Mississippi Marsala left as well. So definitely check on the website for colors of Dream State. Then for Dyed in the Wool, we actually got a decent little restock of some colors and then some new colors. So we've got more Family Jewels in. Beautiful. Very pale skein of Family Jewels, and I love it. Then we got in Robin's Egg. If you know Kathy, this is basically her favorite color of Spincycle, although I think Castaway is jumping up that list. Good Omen. That deep, deep teal with a little pop of purple. This is classic. This is Salty Dog. You get those nice variations of green in there. Super fun. We got Bright Idea. Love this one. Especially for more neutral. You don't want crazy colors. That's a great option for you. Another kind of neutral one is Pick Your Poison. Mauves, grays. Really pretty. And then we have some fun ones. So we've got Devilish Grin on Dyed in the Wool. We have Midsummer. Nice and bright. We have Levitate, which is fiery and lovely, and purple and green and orange and red and pink. And then we have Big Sky on Dyed in the Wool, which is way more neon and less gray, which is really fun. And this is UV light reactive, by the way. And then this mohair is just stuck. Then this is Vibe Check, also UV light reactive, and pretty darn awesome. I used Vibe Check excuse me, about to go insane. Vibe Check in the Great Gingham Hat. Kathy used Vibe Check in the Great Gingham Hat that she knit us, and it's fabulous. I don't know what is going on with the mohair, but it's driving me nuts. Okay, so that is our Spincycle restock. Fabulous. We also are very pleased to announce that we have brought in, because I don't want to even say it's a restock, it's been forever since we've had it. We have Servant Stitcher Diane. We are stocking her yarn again, so it's fabulous. We started off with her sock base. You know, we've had her off and on in with trunk shows, of course, like for either local yarn store day or the yarn trail during the summer. But we've decided to bring her back in as a Texas dyer, and it's awesome. So we got a really nice variety of colors from her, some of her classic colors and some of her newer ones as well. So Sea Smoke, this is all on her sock base, which is a 75-25 nylon, 460 yards. Great for socks, for shawls, all the above. So Sea Smoke, neutral with a little bit of a tealy blue pop. La Boheme, beautiful, soft, classic Diane colors. Then we have Clam City, which is, I think, new for this year. It's not like super new, but it's a newer color, and it's certainly one we've never had in the store before, except on maybe a trunk show. This is Oslo. This is like Sharon in a skein. I know she doesn't call it that, but yes, might as well be. So Oslo. I knit my Portage sweater out of Oslo. It's the DK, but still Oslo. Boardwalk. It's a fun summer color. Especially if you're like, I don't want to be really pink. I don't want to do like typical blues. It's a great summery color. Then River's Edge. I feel like this batch of River's Edge is very green, and I love it. Then this is a new one, Granny Square. Love this neutral, but with a little bit of pop. Then Moody Blues. I remember when Diane came out with this color for, actually I don't know if it was for, but it came out and coincided with, I think, our store anniversary that she was doing a trunk show with. And I remember it was one of the first times that she was doing a blue color, and she called it Moody Blues. And I have some of the original batch of Moody Blues with her original label and logo, which is super fun. I found it in my stash the other day. Moody Blues is always a good one. Then Steampunk, good color from her. Ladybird, I love it when she came out with this a couple years ago, I guess. It's a really pretty color, and I'm not a purple fan, but it's really pretty. Then we have Dark Water, which is fun. This reminds me of like glaciers in Alaska. Heavy Metal, another classic neutral. Again, this could be me in a skein. Actually, you know what would fade really well? This does a really nice fade. Sea Smoke, Oslo, and Heavy Metal. It's a really nice fade. You could maybe even throw in Granny Square potentially. Then you have Nudie Patootie, one of the classic Diane colors. Maple. Evangeline, again, another classic Diane. She's all about those pinks. And Flutter, which is another one of their newer colors. I really like it because there's a little green and like blue-gray in here. It's really pretty. So All of those are on the website. You can shop them now. Some may already be sold out, but grab what you like. Again, perfect for socks, perfect for sweaters, fingering weight sweaters, obviously, or tees. V-back tees, always a classic go-to. Ranunculus, you could do all sorts of things. Shawls, of course, it's great for. The Suburban Wrap by Joji Locatelli was designed in this yarn, I think. Or was it the single ply? Now I'm doubting myself. Pretty sure it was this base. Obviously, a little bit different colors. But great yarn to do a Suburban Wrap or an Evolve shawl by Joji. You could do like Sky Storm, a 3 skein fade from, well, it's actually 3 or 5 skein fade from West Knits would be a great option for it as well. Before I go into an hour-long episode, I want to show you guys some books that we have in stock, and then some great like stocking stuffers if you've lasted this long. If you need a quick gift for maybe yourself or a knitting buddy or anything like that, by the time this airs, I am going to recommend that you do priority or expedited shipping because of the situation with shipping around the holidays is never totally trustworthy. And if you want it to arrive before the holidays, really the 23rd is going to be the last day that anything gets delivered, as far as like most of your postal services go. So definitely upgrade it to either priority or an expedited shipping option on our website. But some great little cheapy stocking stuffers or add-on items for your gift knitting or for your knitting or crocheting friends would be things like wrist rulers. Again, either craft, knit, crochet, even weavers. Whether you wear it on your wrist or wrap it around your bag. I usually have one wrapped around one of my project bags myself. Tuft hand balms. Of course, our Modern Clean is exclusive to the shop, but we have other scents as well. They make for great gifts. Our Progress Keepers. So they're a little lobster claw Progress Keeper with our logo on them. They make for a great little add-on. Maybe you're doing a skein swap and you can just put this on the skein. That would be cute. You can also grab a I Love My LYS bag tag. It's got our logo on there as well. Of course, holographic stickers for your water bottles, laptops, things like that. A Suri Progress Keeper or pin also make for a fabulous stocking stuffer. Lady came in and bought Suri pins for her daughters to go in their stockings because they're obsessed with Suri. And yeah. Then we've got these are the Katrinkles stitch markers, Moon and Star. So these are the holiday 2023 ones. They're iridescent and sparkly. That would make for a good stocking stuffer. If you're a sock knitter, we've restocked the sock gauge sock rulers. So these are for all major adult sizes, men and women, European and US sizing. And we restocked the clear, so I think it's a little bit easier to see than some of the other colors. So definitely grab that. Plus it also makes for a handy gauge ruler, not just for socks. So we have that, and then books. We've restocked a whole lot of books lately, including crochet books. We have this beautiful modern guide to textured crochet. So if you're a crocheter that wants to up their crochet skills, this is a great book. Another crochet book is the Crochet Stitch Dictionary. This is our favorite crochet stitch dictionary book. So we have that restocked as well. This is also under $30. This is $27.99. So that makes a great gift for a crocheter if you're needing to be under, say, a $30 or $50 price range. This one's also $22. This book has both knit and crochet in it. This is the Our Maker Life, which has been super popular. Again, knit and crochet patterns. And it's just a really nice coffee table book too. So great option, under $25 as well. Then if you're wanting to give the gift of knitting to someone, this is a great technique book. It's got lots of photographs, not just drawings or illustrations, but I'll show you, like, they took still photography of people doing the different stitches. So this is a great reference book for people learning how to knit. Basically, you will knit by the end of this book. And it's also great for those of you that are like, you know what, I don't live near somewhere where I can just pop in for help, and maybe I don't like learning off of YouTube. This is a great book for you as well. It's $20. We also restocked Andrea Rangel's, or I guess not restocked, this is her new Knitivations, her new Stitch Dictionary. We restocked the original alternate Stitch Dictionary as well. So we have both of Andrea Rangel's books available, which if you're looking for a knitted Stitch Dictionary, both are fabulous. We still have some copies of Echoes by Susan Crawford, which is 24 different designs inspired by incredible women, from people she personally knows to people like Cyndi Lauper and Beatrix Potter. And it's filled with really great patterns, from sweaters to vests, shawls, socks, hats, mittens, blanket, and even a tie. So definitely and it makes a beautiful coffee table book as well. I love coffee table books. I have reached that age. And of course, if you haven't grabbed your copy already of Lane magazine, this is issue 19. Our friend Max the Knitter has been published in here, along with several other really awesome knitters. Vera Valimecki, Helga Eisager has a beautiful skirt in here. And like, I'm not one to knit a skirt, but I want that knitted skirt really badly. But there are beautiful patterns in this book and great articles. I was reading this Sunday, so I got a copy for myself, and the article about sheep shearing is fascinating. Also tugs at your heartstrings a little bit because of just the state of the wool industry in America, and that's something I'm kind of passionate about, and that's why we stock yarns not just from out of the country, but we're really working on trying to support yarns that are bringing the wool industry back to America. So brands like Brooklyn Tweed, they are doing probably some of the most work as far as a commercial yarn brand to work with ranchers and farmers in America, both large commercial ones and underserved smaller farmers in America, to really bring the wool industry back. The wool industry actually at one time was the #1 industry in the state of Texas. Most people do not realize that. And it has slowed, but there's been some really interesting resurgence in both the plant-based side of the industry, so the cotton industry, for both textiles like sheets and things like that, and hand knitting. Actually, Brooklyn Tweed sources all of their cotton for Dapple from Texas, which is really, really cool, and it's all organic. And then also resurgence in the wool industry itself, with both sheep, mohair goats, and hopefully the bringing back of some of the mills that used to be everywhere in this state. So I encourage you to learn more about the wool industry, and especially in the States if you're here, or learn about it in your country, because almost every country has some form of either a wool industry, whether it's sheep, whether it's goat, whether it's alpaca, camelid type things, yaks, or I'll say on the plant side, whether maybe you're in an area that grew a lot of cotton or flax or bamboo or anything like that. You're bound and determined to find some part of the textile industry happening near you. And so it's just fascinating to learn about it and see what has been done to bring it back potentially, or if maybe it's gone away and maybe there's a way that you can help bring that industry back to your area, which is, I think, a really cool thing. So before I go down on a huge rabbit hole and make this officially super, super long, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope if I don't see you again, that you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever holiday you're celebrating this winter season, that you have a great time with friends, with family, with staying home by yourself and getting all the knitting done. Whatever it is you're doing, have a great time. Get all your gifts done, get all your selfish knitting done, it doesn't matter, and have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back here for the next episode in about 2 weeks. And hopefully see you around the shop or on Instagram or on YouTube later. But if not, we'll see you in the next year. Well, there'll be another podcast. There will. Before the end of the year, I think. I don't know. Have a great day, guys. We'll chat later. Bye-bye.